A woman named Priscilla Doyle wrote to me the week after her divorce was finalized. She is 57. She lives in Burlingame, California, just south of San Francisco. For most of her adult life, she worked as a real estate agent, staging other people's houses to look like nobody had ever truly lived in them. And the week her marriage ended, she decided to do the same thing to her own. She spent an entire Saturday clearing her closet down to almost nothing. Every dress that reminded her of a version of herself she no longer wanted to be. Every gift she'd kept out of guilt. By Sunday morning, the closet was so empty it echoed. She expected to feel lighter. Instead, she stood in the doorway and felt something closer to grief, unable to explain why a clean space had left her hollowed out rather than free. She'd followed every piece of advice she could find online: hold each item, ask whether it still serves you. She'd asked that question honestly, all weekend. What nobody had told her was that the question needed a second half. Serves you toward what? She hadn't been deciding what to remove. She'd been erasing, indiscriminately, anyone who had ever wronged her, and what was left behind wasn't a curated life. It was an absence. She found this channel a few days later through a video that asked one question she couldn't stop turning over. Does this belong to the woman I am becoming? She said it reframed everything she'd done that weekend. She hadn't been asking who she was becoming. She'd only been asking who she was angry at. She downloaded my free Elegant Morning Routine checklist that same week and started over filtering every remaining decision in her closet and everywhere else in her house through that single question instead of through grief. Within a month, her sister, visiting for the first time since the divorce, told her the house finally felt like Priscilla's again, rather than a stage cleared for someone else's showing. That is the distinction I want you to sit with today. Decluttering the way most women are taught to do it removes what you resent. Decluttering the way high-value women actually do it removes what does not belong to who you have decided to become, and those are almost never the same list. So many of you have written to me lately with lists of everything you're ready to remove from your homes. And I want to say clearly, before we go further, ease into this. Wholesale change in a single weekend rarely holds. Priscilla told me the version of herself who cleared that closet in one Saturday wasn't making decisions at all. She was reacting. It took her nearly 2 months, one category at a time, to rebuild a home that reflected who she decided to become, rather than simply the absence of who she used to be. Before we go further, I want you to have the tool that helped Priscilla rebuild instead of just erase. The Elegant Morning Routine Checklist, 12 Rituals of Women Who Are Timeless, Healthy, and Undeniable After 40, is my free gift to you today. It's the identity foundation Priscilla used to filter every decision she made after that first difficult weekend. It is free. It is below this video. Get it before you finish watching. My name is 𝐈𝐬𝐼𝐻. Every week I bring this community the information that nobody else is willing to say plainly. That community is called the Undeniables. If you're new here, subscribe right now. You belong here, and drop the city you are watching from in the comments below. I am always down there reading. I want to know where my fellow Undeniables are. Now let's get into it. Point 1, the guilt-kept wardrobe. I have opened closets belonging to women who are otherwise razor sharp about every other decision in their lives, and found them holding on to clothing purchased at a difficult price, kept purely because throwing it away would feel like admitting the money was wasted. This signals a woman still being governed by a past decision rather than a present standard. Sunk cost thinking rarely announces itself as sentiment. It disguises itself as thrift, as practicality, as simply not being wasteful, when in truth, it is a past version of you still making today's decisions. A behavioral economist at the University of Chicago has written extensively on what's known as the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to protect a bad decision simply because of what it already cost us. A boutique owner I know in the Bay Area told me she now asks every client one question before a fitting. Would you buy this today, at this price, as the woman you are right now? If the answer is no, it goes regardless of what it once cost. Priscilla told me applying this question to her own closet the second time around was almost unrecognizable from the first attempt. She kept nearly a third of what she'd initially planned to discard. simply because the question was about who she is now, not about punishing who she'd been. Something worth mentioning here, because it connects directly to what changed things for Priscilla. She went on to invest in the Undeniable's complete system, the full 30-day curriculum this channel is built on. She told me the identity work in that system, deciding who she was becoming before deciding what to keep, is what turned her second attempt at decluttering into something that actually held, instead of collapsing the way her first attempt had. I'll come back to this once we've gone through the full list. Point 2. The just-in-case duplicates. I have watched women keep 3 half-used bottles of the same serum, 2 nearly identical black blazers, a drawer of takeout containers with no matching lids, all under the banner of being prepared. This signals scarcity thinking rather than abundance, the belief that there might not be enough later, so more than enough must be kept now. It rarely looks like fear on the surface. It looks like sensible stockpiling, right up until the cabinet won't close. A researcher studying hoarding-adjacent behavior at Yale has documented how excess, just-in-case stockpiling is more strongly correlated with anxiety about scarcity than with any actual practical need. A caterer I know in San Mateo now keeps exactly one of everything functional in her kitchen, replacing rather than doubling, and told me the mental quiet it gave her surprised her more than the extra cabinet space. She said she used to believe having backups made her feel secure. She has since realized it only ever made her feel like she was bracing for a shortage that never actually arrived. Point 3. The outgrown sentimental object. This is the one women resist most, and I want to be precise about it, because I am not telling you to discard sentiment. I am telling you to examine objects kept in the name of a version of yourself you have already outgrown, the trophy from a career you left, the gift from a relationship that no longer defines you, the item that represents who you were rather than who you are choosing to be now. The test isn't whether an object holds meaning. Every object in a well-lived home holds some meaning. The test is whether the meaning it holds still matches the direction you're walking in, or only the direction you used to be walking in. A psychologist studying identity and possessions at Princeton has found that objects tied to a past self can quietly anchor people to outdated self-concepts long after they've consciously moved on. Priscilla told me this was the hardest point for her. She kept nearly every framed photo from her marriage in a closet for months before she could finally decide, deliberately, which ones still belonged to the woman she was becoming and which ones didn't. She told me the ones she ultimately kept surprised her. It wasn't the photos from the good years. It was the ones from before the marriage entirely, of a woman she recognized as someone she was actively trying to become again. Point 4. The apology requiring item. I have sat in beautifully appointed living rooms and watched a woman gesture toward a worn armchair or a chipped side table and immediately explain it away before a guest could even ask. This signals that a woman is curating her space around defending it rather than presenting it. The explanation itself is the tell. Nobody narrates the pieces that already belong. A designer I know who stages homes across the peninsula told me her rule with every client is simple. If you would apologize for it, it doesn't belong in the room, full stop, regardless of sentimental or financial value. Priscilla told me she'd been explaining away the same faded armchair in her sitting room for 3 years before she finally understood the explaining itself was the signal something needed to change. She replaced it the same week and told me she has not once since felt the small flash of preemptive apology she used to feel walking a guest into that room. Point 5. The obligation kept gift. The final item is the one almost nobody questions, because refusing it feels like refusing the person who gave it. Freebies, hand-me-downs, and gifts kept purely out of guilt toward the giver, regardless of whether they match the life being built now. A professional organizer who works with several women in my circle told me she has never once seen a client regret releasing an obligation gift, only regret how long she kept it first. A woman I know who sits on 2 nonprofit boards told me she now keeps a standing rule. A gift is honored the moment it's received, not by how long it sits unused afterward. Priscilla told me the specific item she finally released was a set of serving dishes from a former mother-in-law, held onto for 11 years out of obligation to a relationship that had ended, and that letting them go was the single most relieving decision of the entire process. Now, back to what I mentioned earlier, because it matters more here than anywhere else in this video. Priscilla told me these 5 decisions gave her the framework, but the undeniables complete system is what gave her the identity underneath them, the full identity curriculum on deciding who she was becoming before deciding what stayed, and the standards card she now keeps on her closet door as a daily filter. It is $69. It is below this video. I want you to have it. Here is what all 5 of these decisions have in common, and here's what Priscilla finally understood, standing in that echoing empty closet the first time. Decluttering that removes what you resent leaves a void. Decluttering that removes what no longer belongs to who you are becoming leaves a room that finally fits you. The question was never, what should I get rid of? It was always, does this belong to the woman I am deciding to be? Here is your assignment. Pick one of these 5 categories, only one, not all 5, and apply it to a single room this week. Then come back and comment, I removed the guilt-kept wardrobe and the apology-requiring item, and tell me what shifted. Comment below, or if you would rather keep it private, send me an email. I read every single one. Subscribe if you have not already. This community grows one honest decision at a time, and I want you inside it. There is a video on your screen right now that I recommend you watch next. It picks up exactly where this one leaves off. Until next time, to every woman watching, you are not here by accident. You are an undeniable. Act like it. Isabel.